All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Frantic Talks podcast, episode 46. I am your host, Frantic. Along with me, as always, is my lovely co-host,
Grunt.
And we are here to talk about video games.
And junk.
All right, so this is the second time we've gone live because my audio wasn't working right. But anyways, we're going to jump into advertising. But before we do that, there is a really weird picture on screen of some weirdo with glasses standing at a carnival. And we are joined... Stranger danger, guys, but we are joined by our basically podcast guest that we never actually get on the podcast. We mention him basically every week, and that is Freakshow. Freakshow, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
And Freakshow is here to join us in talking about our top games of the year. What better time to bring a guest on to talk about all that?
Most important episode of the year.
It is the most important episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. None of us know what each other picked. We're going to go through a couple categories, and it should be fun. So, let's start this off with advertising. First up, if you want to find us on Twitter, I am at FranticJ3. I always say he. Onyx Spartan is Grunt, ONYX. And then in the center, Freakshow. What is it Freakshow 740?
No, it's that Freakshow 187.
Okay, at Freakshow187 is Freakshow if you want to join in. Either way, we usually tweet at him if that wasn't right. So you can just follow us there.
It's true, you can do that.
Yeah. And then you can hit up at Frantic_Talks. That is the official Frantic Talks Twitter account. We we tweet out all our podcasts and other random articles and stuff. Beyond that, head to Frantic Talks. Oh, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, that's the Twitter mothership.
The Twitter mothership. You want the real mothership, go to frantictalks.com or magic.frantictalks.com. You'll find all our articles, all our podcasts, all the links to the relevant data there. And then if you head over to facebook.com/frantictalks, all one word, that's where you'll find basically the same as Twitter, just in a more, formal format is the right way to put that. And then we head on over to YouTube. You'll have to search for Frantic Talks, or if you go back to frantictalks.com, click on the podcast, you can click on the YouTube link and subscribe, because that is where you will find the video version of each podcast, along with a Sunday show that I like to do where I recommend music, and some other videos soon to be coming, probably, I'd imagine, next year.
Yes,
and we're very close to next year, but
I'm running out of time between now and the holidays, so at most I may be able to get some footage recorded and maybe a rough draft of the commentary, but I unfortunately don't think those will be coming out before the end of this year, unless something magical happens.
Yeah, well, maybe. Up, man.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I mean, I can't handle the pressure of being a YouTube content creator, guys.
Clearly can't. You're fired.
Well, sure. Damn. I guess you're taking my place, Freakshow.
Since he's fired, can I be the new co-host?
Potentially. We'll see how this episode goes.
All right.
Ooh, be on your best behavior.
He is on the block here. All right, so let's start off like we normally do. First off, Grunt, how was your week?
Well, part awesome, part disappointing.
Yeah.
Apologies for if the way I sounds horrible, because I have no voice. I've been dealing with a little bit of a head and sinus cold this past week, so it's taking its toll.
I had the same thing on Sunday when I recorded my video and was really bad on Monday. So it seems to be going around everywhere. A couple of my family members have been getting it too, so.
Yeah,
not fun.
That's not good. No, it's not. Earlier in the week, though, before all that happened, I went to my local card shop and bought a couple individual cards. See them here somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah, I bought, let's see, let's just start this one here. I bought Ob Nixilis Reignited. It's a Planeswalker card. And then the one everyone's been geeking out about has been Thraxamundar.
Thraxamundar, that guy's a champ.
Yes, I'm pretty anxious. I'm trying to build a commander deck around him. I don't know.
He's a good one to build around, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Grixis can do a lot of things. The red, black, blue. It's a interesting color combo.
Would you say that it could be a commanding deck?
Oh, god damn it. See, this is why we don't bring him on. This is why he's not on the podcast. Actually, no, that's not true, because we do puns all the time. Okay.
Well, cool. It's true.
So you had a good week then?
Yeah, pretty much game time has been spent playing a little bit of Destiny, a little bit of Skyrim, and some Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, which is pretty fun, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
But that's pretty much been my week.
Okay. Well, what about you, Freakshow? How's your week been?
I mean, week's been pretty good. Played Destiny with Grunt. Did the raid with both of you last night, the Crota one.
Oh yeah, we 3-man Crota. That was fun.
Completely embarrassed myself like the first 10 minutes by not being able to jump. But,
It's okay. You're on your hunter. Hunters can't jump.
Bones of AO.
Ew.
Oh, cool. Anything
We're
else?
mature here.
Oh, we are, for sure.
Yeah, just play a little bit of the Got Out of Hell with Grunt. It's, pretty
Nice.
fun.
Cool.
Any time spent punching demons in the dick is a good time.
That's also true.
I imagine it would be, Okay. Well, cool. I will say that my week was pretty eventful, but I don't really want to go into why, in terms of just not saying certain things. Sounds all secretive and whatnot, but I just don't feel like talking about it. Beyond
So
the
you
specific,
sacrificed goats.
I sacrificed a few goats. You're right. They
Thank you.
were necessary, a necessary sacrifice. But beyond that, played some
It was
games.
necessary evil.
Shut up. We're not gonna. No, none of that. Oh,
Gonna
jeez.
ban you from this server now.
Banned from this. Mute him for the next 5 minutes. Beyond that, I went to play Magic last night. I built this really bad modern deck and didn't win a game, and it was all right because me and Luke got participation booster packs, and we both kind of went through them one at a time. And then when we got to our rares, we were like, all right, 3, 2, 1, flipped, and we both got really awesome rares, and it was made the night,
nice.
basically. For interested people, he pulled Torrential Gear Hulk, which I think is a $20 rare, and I pulled Panharmonicon, which is a $5 or $6 rare, both of which are really awesome cards for the formats we play in. So it was like, oh yeah, this makes our loss worth it, because he didn't win a game either. So we totally just lost. That being said, if you want Magic advice, you can go to magic.frantictalks.com. We're experts, we know what we're doing, we win all the time, and we'll totally give you great advice. No winning at competitive events last night aside. But beyond that, that was basically my week. I purchased Doom from Gamefly, and I will be getting Dishonored 2 next. I don't know when it ships out, so I will get back to you guys on how good Dishonored 2 is. I love Doom. It was a lot of fun, and I would recommend it for sure. So I think that was basically it. I want to say before we hop into all our stuff, we got a jam-packed episode. We're going to try to get through it all in an hour. That was weird. We have a jam-packed episode, and I want to say happy birthday to Freakshow because today is his birthday.
Yeah.
Birthday indeed.
So
Thanks,
not only is your birthday present showing up on the podcast, but I'm sure I'll get you something else for Christmas. Anyways. All right, so we got a couple of awesome stories that I want to talk about really quick. Well, I guess it's not awesome, but just eventful stories. And the first one's up. It's centered around No Man's Sky. So No Man's Sky, we've talked about plenty of times before, and they were under investigation or being alleged for false advertising, and they were cleared from it. So I guess in the past couple episodes I did say they were doing false advertising just because I painted them as guilty. If that offended anybody, I'm sorry. It probably didn't, but they were not.
Deeply offended me.
Well, I'm sorry, Freakshow. I must apologize formally where everyone can hear.
This is why we can't have nice things.
It's not. Yeah. But basically, they were cleared of false advertising allegations. I figured we'd want to bring that up because we talked about them last week when we were talking about like most. I feel like they were nominated for something, maybe not, but it was like, oh, No Man's Sky, this piece of shit game. Regardless of how I feel personally, they're clear to that. That's fine. Seems like they released an update that might make the game a little better, but overall, it tanked.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah, being clear of false advertisement still doesn't make it a better game.
Exactly. That's a very good point.
It really doesn't, no. And I know a lot of people, when they bought the game, were really excited for it, and then they just absolutely hate the mention of No Man's Sky now.
Yeah, that's very true. And rightfully so, I think.
Rightfully so, yeah. So.
Still No Man's Sky.
God damn it. So next up is
a long episode.
I'm noticing that I have a 404 page open. I had a link to this. The link does not work anymore. But anyways, it's just a quick note. Battlefield's developers DICE came out and said they will not be making a Battlefield for the next couple of years, like a Battlefield game. And in terms of how I feel about that personally is cool. Looks like we are taking the same route Assassin's Creed's taken, to where we're not going to just shove a game down everyone's throat every year or every other year. Because they release DLC all throughout the next year. So.
Oh yeah. And I think that's a good move on their part.
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty is still what, an annual release?
Something like that. It is, yeah. Oh, but they have 3 developers working on each game, so I mean, they technically get 3 years of development.
Right. It feels like an annual release. Same thing with the new coat of paint.
I mean, for real, it's kind of delved into that, and if anybody listening wants to watch a really good video that talks about Call of Duty's identity, I would recommend searching it on YouTube. I forget the guy's name. He does the COG Connected series that dissects Halo, and he does this whole thing on it that says Call of Duty has lost its identity because it went from generic, I don't want to say generic shooter, that's kind of where my mind went, but it was basically you're an infantry soldier and everything around you is out of your control, to badass jumping around, doing the same thing a guy in Halo would do, and that was kind of where they took a wrong step. It's a really good dissection video, and then he does another one talking about Infinity Ward becoming Treyarch, and that's just kind of the sense of Treyarch was always following in Infinity Ward's footsteps, and now the tables have turned, mainly because a lot of the people from Infinity Ward are no longer there. So
yeah,
it's a good video as well. So I recommend both those, but otherwise set Battlefield not coming out next year or the year after that. They're not making a new one. I'm sure they'll do some stuff for Star Wars Battlefront. It's been 2 years since that game came out, I think it was the number on that. Or no, not 2 years, I think 1 year. It's been a year since that came out, so I imagine a Battlefront 2 is in the works. That'll probably be much better upon release, I imagine. So,
yeah, they said that the Star Wars game should be expected by the end of next year.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was a good idea. It had a great following. People still play it, and they they fixed a lot of the issues at release with it not having much content, which is the real issue. And it sounds like they'll have like a whole story mode to go along with it, which they originally planned, but they had to cut it due to deadlines. So here's hoping. Second time around is a lot better. Okay.
Interesting.
Very last thing that you guys should definitely check out before we hop into our game of the year here is PlayStation Plus and Xbox Games with Gold. I have both of those open here. I'll probably switch back and forth. But here's the interesting thing. Polygon did an analysis on the games they gave out this past year. How good were they? So I'm going to run through a quick couple numbers. PlayStation Plus gave out $1,150 in free games. Xbox One, $930. And if you go through, it goes through each month what came out and when, and you start scrolling for a little bit. You got to eventually find out where all the like aggregation of data is. And to put it this way, the average score of a PlayStation Plus game, Metascore, was a 74.1. So what is that, like a C? Yeah, it's like a C essentially. That's the way you can look at it.
Yeah.
Versus Xbox One, that gave you an average score of 76. So they're a little higher in terms of Metascore, but overall kind of in the same realm. The average price of a game released on the PlayStation was $16.20. So they sold more, or they gave you more free stuff, but it was a little cheaper when you put it all together. And then Xbox gave away almost $20, so it was $19.43. So that was another interesting thing to note.
So what their data is implying is the Games with Gold program was a little bit more beneficial and worth its value.
Yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting, though. The Metacritic ranges. So instead of just saying the average, where did all the games fall? So on PlayStation, titles that were ranked with a 90 or higher, where there were just 2 of them, and it doesn't list which ones, but there were just 2. 80 to 89 had 18 of them. Your 70 to 79 had 33, and then 60 to 69, 10, and then below 60 was 7. So that means, what is that, 53 of the titles scored 70 or higher, 17 beyond that were below that. So that's a pretty interesting thing to know, and since their average was in the 74 area, it looks like that, if you kind of look at the numbers, they're higher, they have what's the way to word this? 80 and above had 20 games that they released. Below 70 had only 17, meaning most of the games were in the lower range of 70, assuming the average was at 74.5, like they said. So that means they had a lower tier of 70s, for the most part, is the way to look at that statistically. Versus the Xbox, they had 90 and up, the score was 3 or more. Not 3 or more. They had 3 titles. Their 80 to 89 was 19 titles. Their 70 to 79 was 14. Their 60 to 69 was 7. and their 59 and below was 5. So what that says to me is they got a 76 was their overall Metascore, and they had 22 above 80 and only 12 below 60, meaning that either the high end pulled it up a bit or their 70s were a pretty good range. So it looks like, just going by the data, not by what games you enjoy the most, it looks like Xbox with Games with Gold did a better job this year. Something that really surprised me.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Obviously, I'm going to agree with that because, all I own is an Xbox, so.
All right, yeah.
Well, when you're the lacking console, you got to give people more bang for their free buck, so to speak.
That's a good theory. Everybody thinks that. I mean, I wouldn't say everybody, but I would say a vast majority of people are probably pretty aware that the PlayStation's kind of just a better system.
Oh, yeah.
So if Xbox is going to give us better games, I guess I can't complain about having the crappier system. And by crappy, it's just price point plus tech in it and all kinds of other random stuff, which we could delve into, but to save time, we're not gonna. So, if you guys want to go check that out, you can just head to the Polygon website. The link's really weird. I can post all the links to all the stuff we're talking about today in the podcast description. So beyond that, that's basically all I had to talk about in terms of cool little articles. I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to get into our games of the year. So how this is gonna go down is we have, how many was it, like 7 categories? I want to say we had 7 categories. 1, 2, 3, 4,
8,
5, 6.
Looks like.
Hell yeah, we have 8 categories, and this ranges from Game of the Year to like different awards within it, kind of like the Game Awards did this year, so soundtrack and indie and stuff like that. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna name what category it is. We're gonna go one by one, just kind of give off what we chose and why in a brief couple sentences, and then maybe we can just be like, mine's better. Who knows what'll happen? But anyways, I'm gonna get a better cool picture up in the background. I'm just gonna use the Game Awards background, steal their stuff. Also, fuck Pokemon Go, this bullshit. Why did Pokemon Go win Best Mobile Game? What the fuck?
Man, I'm so glad we didn't get out of this episode without hearing a mini Pokemon Go rant.
I mean, I'm not gonna rant any more than I need to. It's just, you gotta be fucking kidding me. God damn it.
Yeah, it definitely did not deserve the Best Mobile Game.
No, it did not.
Yeah. I don't really think... Go ahead.
Throwing more content at people rather than fixing what's wrong with it is not the answer for anything.
Not at all.
Nope.
It's just not a good practice either, and that's exactly what they did. So, ugh.
Yeah.
Makes me upset. Well, anyways.
Also, hashtag not my game of the year.
Hashtag not my mobile game of the year. Oh, jeez. We'll get the... Oh, yeah. So, hashtag not my game of the year is in regards to Blizzard's Overwatch winning 90% of the crap they were nominated in. I was really hoping last year when we talked about... We were like, oh, we expect this to win when it maybe doesn't deserve to win. A lot of the things we said like that got disproved. And then this year we were like, oh, this shouldn't win. And then everything that we said shouldn't win won.
Yep.
It's like we expect it to win, but we don't want it to win, and it all fucking won. It was like, God damn it.
I love Overwatch, but it should not have raked in as many as it did.
And that's the thing. Overwatch is a very good game. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I hated it or anything. It's just for the categories that it won, it really shouldn't have. Like Game of the Year, I don't think Overwatch deserves Game of the Year. It had no storyline. It was just a multiplayer MOBA. Like,
yeah.
Doom Doom was a nominee. It had multiplayer. It had a storyline. Uncharted only had a storyline. So I guess if we're going to apply that logic, we have to say no multiplayer. But still, the stuff that it was up against, I just feel like there were better nominees in my opinion. But
Overwatch had the story, but there's so many outside sources that you need to go to get it rather than just in the game.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's if you're going to play it and you want to know more about it, you have to go out of your way. It doesn't present it in the game for you.
Right.
Which is true of Destiny as well. They try to give you more story and context, but there are a lot of stuff to learn through Grimoire cards, so...
Yeah, but it still has a story in the game. As
bad
as the story may be, still had that over Overwatch.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, well... All that ranting aside, let's start this off with our picks for best soundtrack. So, I don't want to always go last, so I'll start this one off. and you guys probably know what my best soundtrack would be. I decided to go with the one that, I don't know, kicks ass, Doom, because it's a heavy metal soundtrack. I'm partial to heavy metal, as most people listening know, so it's unfair for me to say that it was the best soundtrack just because it was heavy metal. But the way they used it in the game, and I listened to it a lot while I was at work this past week, just to make sure I wasn't just picking it blindly. And it's really atmospheric, dark, and makes you feel like you really are just alone with a bunch of demons attacking you, basically, to put that into musical perspective. So I think Doom definitely gets my favorite soundtrack this year.
Ooh,
so
good choice.
What about you, Freakshow? What's your soundtrack of the year?
Well, my soundtrack of the year is Doom. For
there you go.
Exactly the same reasons that you just said.
It's good, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing.
It sets the tone, and
that's metalheads.
I mean, it's like saying, I don't know, the Halo soundtrack can set the tone for each game it's in, and when you can do that, using music more than just a background noise is perfect. And that's exactly what it did. So, I guess that's all we should say before we talk it up too much. Grunt, what did you choose?
Well, I didn't go the heavy metal route like you guys did, even though I do like that music.
Tragic.
Yes, I went with Destiny's Rise of Iron soundtrack because it's amazing.
That is a very, very good soundtrack.
I love how they redid the Destiny theme to include the new sense of despair that you would have during the Rise of Iron story. So overall, I like it. It's just a shame I don't own it yet.
Right. That's another good pick. I definitely thought about Rise of Iron when I was thinking about the other soundtracks I was going to pick. So
I was definitely torn between Rise of Iron and Doom.
So I mean, it sounds like we were all kind of on the same page, that there was a definitive like one or two in our mind that definitely stood out, and we definitely think I definitely think Doom is very, very good. So does Freakshow, and Rise of Iron would be Grunt's pick. So by the way, if you're following along at home, I want you guys to send us your tweet at us what your picks for these categories would be as well. I definitely would love to see and hear, in this case, what you guys picked.
My pick would obviously be better all the time.
although we are partial to our own picks. All right, we're going to move on now. We're going to head into Indie Game of the Year, and I'm sure this is going to be an interesting category, and I'm just going to go according to what's on my screen, left to right, right to left. So, Grunt, you're going to start us off with this one. What would be your Indie Game of the Year?
Rocket League counts, right?
Does it? I don't know.
Well, it's not my Indie Game of the Year, no, but when narrowing this category down, it did come out for the Xbox One this year.
It did, didn't it?
The game itself came out last year, maybe a couple of years ago, for the PS4 and PC, but it came to Xbox One in February.
I want to say it came out in the end of 2014, but I could be entirely wrong on that.
Man,
but anyways,
tried to skirt the rules.
I mean,
but anyways,
some of these categories were hard to pick because I haven't bought too many new games this year.
They were very hard.
No, but my Indie Game of the Year is Dex. DEX.
I think I've heard of this. What exactly is it? Describe it for the people at home.
Well, it's like a 8-bit side-scrolling RPG action adventure game mashup.
That sounds crazy.
Sounds weird.
That's a lot of things.
Yeah, it's like 20 things in one, but that's good.
But it's actually a fun game. The only drawback to it is they have a lot of focus on prostitution. So it's like, that really doesn't play too much in the overarching storyline. I don't see any subplots there, that it could play into, so what's the purpose of it being there? But overall, it's an enjoyable game. I like it.
Did you say that there are plot holes?
No, I'm done.
He just rage quit. All right, so beyond that, do you have I guess I'll get to that in a minute. Freakshow, what would be your indie game of the year?
It would have to be Sarah is Missing for the mobile phones.
Okay, I think I've heard of this one, but describe it at home, because indie game is one of those categories that most people don't know most of the games in the categories.
It's just a point and click style thing on a mobile phone. The girl's missing, you find her phone, you have to go through her texts and emails and everything to find out what happened to her.
Okay.
You highlight the important stuff. The phone yells at you when you try to pick not important stuff. It's pretty fun.
That seems interesting.
Does it actually yell at you?
It does, because the phone has its own personality.
That's interesting.
This is getting too deep for me.
Well, it sounds like you should go play it. Is it free to play, or does it cost like $1 or something since it's for a phone?
It's a game where you can set your own price to download it. So it can be free, or you can pay any that you want for it, because it all goes to charity.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's actually
nice.
very cool.
It's a lot like Humble Bundle, so good stuff. I like stuff like that. Okay, cool. All right, so that would be your indie game of the year. Now, Grunt stole my thunder. I was picking Rocket League for Xbox One because it came out for Xbox One this year, and I expected backlash from you two, but now that you are okay with it, I kind of want to stick with that. But I do have backups, as in I would pick other things.
Well, if you're going to stick with it, I'm pretty sure I can talk Grunt into backlashing you.
That's a good point. Okay, so
come on.
honorary mention of Rocket League this year from Grunt and I. Love that game to death. But if I had to really pick, and it's a really hard pick for me, I have to go with Stardew Valley, which is
I kind of had a feeling you'd go with that.
See, I have another one, and I'll mention it in a sec, but Stardew Valley, for those that are listening and don't really know, it is a pixelated, I want to say 32-bit farming simulator, top-down, kind of like Pokemon in the old days. And it just is more than just farming. It's building relationships with people in town to get different resources while just farming. And it's quite a casual game, and I always enjoy my casual games, and I think it's definitely one of the best games that came out this year. Next to it, one that I almost changed my answer to, Shadow Warrior 2 is awesome. Shadow Warrior 2 is one of those really awesome hack and slash crazy fast games like, what is it, Ninja Gaiden, but not nearly as freaking hard. And it is crazy. So it's just a hack and slash with a bunch of crazy freaking weapons and abilities and all kinds of stuff, and it's a ninja game essentially. So if you get the chance, I'd go look it up, just some gameplay videos of it. The reason I chose Stardew over Shadow Warrior is because I had yet to play Shadow Warrior 2. It's on my list. So I knew what it was. I've seen plenty of gameplay to know I'll enjoy it, but Stardew I've actually played and enjoyed, so I figured it's more fair to go that route. So
just gonna throw it out there that I'm partial to ninjas, so
right, yeah. So I was gonna say honorary mentions are kind of like a theme of my, I don't know. I have a couple of ones where there are like multiple choices I had. So in terms of honorary mentions or stuff you had really hard trouble picking between, did you guys have anything for soundtrack or indie that you couldn't pick through?
Not really for soundtrack. I pretty much knew what it would be.
Right.
Rocket League does get the honorary mention from me because it's a fun game. I was always looking forward to playing it when I first saw the game in action, and it looked fun. And then when I found out it was coming to the Xbox One, I'm like, oh, hey, great, I get to play it finally. So,
as much as I loved Rocket League, I wasn't going to try to skirt the rules like that.
I mean, so it sounds like we both loved Rocket League enough to say it should count, but will not cheat the system.
We're not skirting the rules.
We're not, we promise. Okay.
So. I almost chose a game for one of my categories that released last year. I only realized it right before we started this, so...
Oh, jeez. Wow.
The Stardew Valley that you picked, those are throwbacks to the old Harvest Moon series of games.
I didn't know that. I mean, that makes sense now you say it, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially the same thing, the farming, the relationships. But yeah, it's throwback to those, and I really enjoyed those.
Okay. Well, cool. That's good to know. All right. Moving on to our third category, we're going to get into action-adventure games, and it looks like it starts with me. I'm going to ask you guys if you know what I'm going to pick.
Overwatch.
That's a weird pick.
I mean, Pokemon Go, because it's adventure.
Boom. There you go. That's it.
All right, well, I picked Uncharted 4, unlike the the dumpster fires that you suggested. So Uncharted 4, I have not actually played, but I've seen so much gameplay footage of it, and have seen the critical success it's been, and also Naughty Dog, when will they ever go wrong? Probably never. So I feel like I had to pick this only because it's the end of the Uncharted series, and the last time Naughty Dog finished off a series, they went into a direction that was crazy amazing. And of course, I'm speaking of like Crash Bandicoot, and they did Ratchet and Clank, right? Or did they do Jak and Daxter? They did one of those two. I'll tell you that much.
I have no idea either.
Yeah, so they finished off those series, Crash Bandicoot, and then the duos. I don't remember which one they did, because the other one was Insomniac.
I want to say it was Jak and Daxter.
Yeah, I think it was too. So they finished off those two games and moved on to The Last of Us and Uncharted. And it's just like, what the hell? How do you just go from, I don't know, animals that are bipedal and run around doing crazy stuff to realistic zombie apocalypse or Tomb Raider with a guy and make them amazing? I don't know how you do it.
That your Crash Bandicoot and The Last of Us didn't happen at the same time on different parts of the world?
Ooh.
All right, well, I don't know.
Speaking of Last of Us, though, as we were going on here, Naughty Dog officially announced that The Last of Us 2 was going to be a thing.
I just got a text from a friend right before this started that said that, and I was going to mention that. So,
I beat you to it.
You did. Good job.
You're fired, Frantic.
Yep, impeach me. That's what we decided.
Grunt's gonna be the new host. I'll be the co-host.
All right, that's fair.
Boom.
Okay. Anyways, I pick Uncharted 4. Kind of speaks for itself. Freakshow, what was your action adventure pick for the year?
Hitman.
That's a pretty good pick. Why?
Yeah, I love the Hitman series.
As do
the
I.
The new one is absolutely no different. The elusive targets, fun as hell, although really hard. I loved everything about it.
Kind of sad I never got to play it just because I really enjoy Hitman, and the way they were doing it seemed like it was going to be crazy. So, I like it. Okay. Well, cool. Grunt, action adventure, you chose.
I chose Hitman as well.
Nice. All right,
Yeah.
2-1 here.
Yes. I love the Hitman series like Freakshow does. And the only thing I was a little standoffish about this new one is they switched to a more episodic release for it, but it seems like it worked out well for them. So, and from what I've seen of it, I haven't actually played it yet. But from what I've seen of it, it looks like it's good old-fashioned Hitman style gameplay.
Yeah, with like crazy differing levels of challenge depending on how far online you can get. So, okay.
Yeah, and then the elusive targets is something that really sounds interesting too.
Right, yeah, it definitely does.
There is small chances there for those things. Because once they're gone, they're gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. So those are our picks for action adventure. Again, tweet at us what your guys' picks are. I'd love to hear it. So we're gonna.
Pixar.
Oh my god. So we're gonna.
Nice things.
We're gonna need to speed it up a little bit. We have time, but I want to make sure we get through it all. We're moving on to RPGs or role-playing games. And who started the last one? Me? Yeah, I did. Grunt, what was your pick for role-playing game of the year?
This is a no-brainer for me. It was the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition.
So that got released this year as the remaster, correct?
Yes, it is.
And for the one person listening who isn't sure what an RPG is, most of these are going to fall all in the same realm. It's playing a character as usually a different role that you want to be, like a warrior or an archer or something like that, and having skill trees to progress your levels. So that is essentially what all these games are going to be, not going to lie. And it just depends on the setting. Grunts is in a fantasy setting with dragons, so...
And dragons are awesome, man.
Dragons are pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, but until you perfect the game and get completely tired of playing it.
Oh, you're just mad that you spent that much time playing the game.
That's true. That was a lot.
Yeah, but the reason I chose it is I can see why it really took the gaming industry by storm when it released in 2011, because it really is a well-done game.
Right.
And it's fun to play, which is a huge bonus in my book. So,
I mean, it took a ton of game awards back in 2011, so rightfully so that it takes another.
I mean, this is just one.
Right, still. Freakshow, what did it counts? Freakshow, what was your choice for RPG?
Final Fantasy 15.
So that just came out, what, Tuesday, I think?
Yup.
I mean, if you love the series and you're a fan and it's good, I can't argue.
I love the series, and everything I saw about Final Fantasy 15 is just amazing.
Well, it's hard to argue with that, I guess. So, I chose what should have won the Game Award 2016 award for RPG games, not Witcher 3 expansion name here. I chose Dark Souls 3 because Jesus Christ, it was amazing and continues to be amazing. And
Is it hard?
It's fucking hard, but we expect that with Dark Souls. It's still a ridiculously awesome game. It's a great RPG game. It's got a lot of challenge to it. Introduces features where you can have people join in randomly and help you out fighting different bosses or whatever, which you almost have to do normally. It's got a very unique combat system that you're reacting to stuff in real time, trying to dodge attacks and stuff, so it's not like your turn-based stuff. It's just a good game. The visuals are crazy. The story is interesting. It's all just really good. And I feel like it definitely deserved to win this year, even though it didn't, which was stupid, but you know.
Yeah.
All right, so now we are going to move into a category that I'm sure we all had crazy amounts of issue picking. Probably the next two we definitely had trouble. First-person shooter. This is a genre we play primarily, I'd almost say. At least, I mean, we play a lot of Destiny, a lot of Halo, so I've played a lot of first-person shooters. So for first-person shooter of the year, I go first, I guess. I chose Battlefield 1. The beta was great. The story is pretty interesting, which is weird for a Battlefield game. And the visuals and music are awesome, and it's a step in a direction that a lot of us kind of wanted to see happen, including Grunt and I. Grunt wrote about it, and I definitely agreed with a lot of the points he said. So it seems like they are going in the right direction in terms of what they're going to be doing with their games. So, DICE, that is. I just think Battlefield 1's a really, really good game. And that's why I picked it, so.
Right. Good pick.
Yeah, I'd say so myself.
Wow.
You know. Freakshow, in terms of first-person shooters, what was your choice?
I would have to agree with you. I picked Battlefield 1 as well.
Yeah. Did it win first-person shooter? I don't remember.
I think first-person shooter was one. If we're talking about the Game Awards, I think that was Overwatch as well.
Okay, so Overwatch took that. Right, okay.
Because a game where you can be a ninja running around with a sword, it's a first-person shooter.
That still sounds like a lot of fun in first person, to be fair.
I mean, it is, but you can't shoot with a gun unless you're playing Final Fantasy VIII.
Okay.
The main character uses a gun sword. Don't worry about
it.
I mean, I believe it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay. And then Grunt. What did you choose?
Well, this was very difficult. Not for the fact that, there are so many good first-person shooters out there, but what I really wanted to put in this category, I'm not sure if it necessarily belongs in there or necessarily best action adventures category.
Mm-hmm.
But I will give an honorable mention to Battlefield 1 because it is amazing from the beta, and the story does look very nice. But I think I might give my best first-person shooter, even though you're not supposed to shoot, to Dishonored 2.
Okay. I feel like that could be in a couple of different categories, to be fair, and some categories we aren't even covering. So.
Yeah. So I couldn't figure out necessarily where to fit it. So
yeah, maybe an action adventure. I mean, truth be told, I couldn't honestly tell you. I don't think it has many RPG elements. Maybe it does. I don't know. I have yet to play it. So
yeah. I know the first one had RPG elements to it, but it also had an achievement where you ran around killed everybody, and you got a gun, so it could be
Yeah.
a first-person shooter.
It seems fair enough. It's a good argument.
It's more so designed to be a stealth game, though. So it was tricky for that. So
Yeah, but there's that incentive if you want to perfect it, where you got to run around and kill everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Stealth or not.
oh yeah, definitely. So if Dishonored 2 wouldn't fit in that category, it would definitely be Battlefield 1.
Right.
But I don't know.
I mean, it's fair either way. Seems like Battlefield 1, we kind of all agree, is a very, very good game.
Oh, yeah.
And Overwatch... No, why did I say Overwatch? Fucking Dishonored 2, also a really good game, from what I've understood, so... Okay. Alright, so... Let's move into kind of a FPS category, usually an FPS category, and go into Best Multiplayer Game. So, this is... it has a very good multiplayer presence. So you hop online and can shoot around or do whatever you want to do, depending on what the game is, or maybe even a good local split screen as well. But that doesn't really usually apply, just because that's kind of getting phased out, almost it would seem. But anyways, online multiplayer game, or just multiplayer game in general. Who started that one? I did. Grunt. What did you pick?
Oh, I picked a controversial game here. I'm picking it more so for the reason that it's a different spin on the normal multiplayer and PvP that we think. What was that?
So does it Pokemon Go?
It's Pokemon Go. Yes, you're right.
Well, I'm going to end the podcast now.
All right. No, but I actually went with The Division. I have my own problems with the game, but the Dark Zone portion, which was the multiplayer and the PvP for it, was actually very, very well done. You could work together with the people that you came across to go take down a high-level NPC, and take their gear, and then turn your backs on each other and try and kill them for whoever took the gear.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could go in there and kill other people and take their gear if they were in there already. So I picked it more so for the fact it's, like I said earlier, different take on the traditional PvP that we're used to.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got a really interesting idea, and I'd love to see where people take these ideas from it. It's got its issues, like you said. So,
oh, yeah.
Okay. And then from there, Freakshow. What was your multiplayer game of the year?
For as much grief as I gave you guys earlier, I sort of skirted the rules with this one.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course you did. So, what'd you pick?
Picked H1Z1 King of the Hill.
Okay, so you were I asked you what this was, and I kind of got a gist of it, but give everybody an idea what it is.
You're in an open world from the H1Z1 environment, and you get a confine to a certain part of the map, and you're in there with a ton of other players.
Mm-hmm.
You got to run around and collect the gear and kill the other players, and your objective is to be the last one alive. And all throughout that, you have to battle the hunger and food, and if you get shot, you got to bandage yourself. It's a lot of different elements at play.
Okay. I mean, that sounds really interesting alone, so seems like it could be a lot of fun. And is this like on Xbox, I imagine, or is it a PC game or what?
It's on the PC, but it's going to be coming to the PS4 and Xbox along with the H1Z1 game itself. I just don't know when.
That's right, because King of the Hill is separate from the original H1Z1 game, isn't it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be an expansion, but communities can be pieces of shit sometimes.
Oh yeah, we are.
And they
very familiar with that.
Oh yeah, they got mad, so they ended up splitting the game into two, and that's kind of how I skirted the rules because H1Z1 is a couple years old, but since King of the Hill is its own separate game now, I can still get away with it.
I mean, if we can give expansions Game of the Year awards.
Well, it's not technically an expansion, since it's also its own full game.
Right. I get what you mean. It's fine.
I think that's what helps, is it being released more so as its own game than an expansion. It's like a spin-off.
So, in this case, the community being a piece of shit actually helped the developers. Game communities don't need to make it a habit to be a piece of shit, though.
That's a good point. Well, I guess it's down to me. My multiplayer game of the year, and I don't want to say regrettably, but rightfully, goes to Overwatch. Only because of how insane it took off, how much it garnished the entire community that builds and culture that's been surfaced around it, essentially. It's a really, really good game. And like I said earlier, I don't hate it or anything. I enjoy it. I need to get my own copy of it. It was a lot of fun to play. And I've seen so much around it that it's hard to sit here and say it's a bad game. So I think it definitely deserves multiplayer of the year. Not game of the year. Not at all. But definitely one of the best multiplayer games to come out this year.
I have to agree. It's a good game. I like it in its own right.
And I also would give this award to Rocket League for Xbox One, because that's a multiplayer game that technically came out this year. That would also be who I give it to, but Okay. All right, so I have on my list Game of the Year next, but I decided I want to do Most Anticipated Game to build the suspense. So we're going to instead do Most Anticipated Game, and this is our personally most anticipated game. Although I have like 6 listed, I'm going to tell you one and then go through the others once everyone said theirs. But most anticipated game for me this year is definitely Red Dead Redemption 2. And I know it's going to come out at the end of next year, maybe get delayed into the year after, but it's going to be so crazy good. First one was amazing, and this one only serves... I mean, it's got a high bar to reach, but I think it'll be really, really good. Rockstar's proven they can release amazing games and continue to release them even after they've set the bar so high.
Would you say that they're a Rockstar developer?
I would say yes, that they are a Rockstar developer.
God.
This is
why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why we... Anyways, okay. Freakshow, what would be your personally most anticipated game for 2017?
It was tough. I wanted to say Destiny 2, but I know absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because they've redone it. So I had to go with my backup, which is Resident Evil 7.
That is one of the ones that is on my list of things I really want to see next year. It's not one that I personally will probably play. I'm not a big fan of the survival horror that it is looking to be, but I really want to see how it goes. So I figured you guys were going to pick stuff that was on my list of stuff, but that was definitely one of them.
It's going to be interesting because they don't have Silent Hill to compete with anymore. So they can pretty much just do what they want.
Market is wide open.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can take it for sure.
With the demo and everything, I mean, it seems great. So hopefully the finished game's on the same track and we don't get something like Resident Evil 4 where it's not zombies, it's just villagers with a parasite.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see all the VR videos that surface of people getting scared shitless while playing VR, because it's coming for VR, and that's going to be really scary if you do it. So
I've watched somebody play the demo VR, and it terrified me just watching.
So it's like you're immersed in it, and that's going to be crazy. That's another reason I'm looking forward to it, because it's going to be like one of the first survival horror games in VR, and I feel like it's going to be scary as shit. So
oh yeah, it's going to be good.
All right, Grunt, what would be your most anticipated game for 2017?
It was difficult. There's a lot of really neat games coming out next year. But I went with Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands.
I haven't heard anything about this one. What's it shaping up to do, if anything?
Well, usually the past Ghost Recon games have been linear in terms of level design. Yeah. But with Wildlands, they're going more so open world. So that's interesting. I really have a huge enjoyment of playing open world games.
Yeah. So naturally, you're excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little concerned because, they are hyping it up pretty much the same way they hyped up The Division, and even though that won my best multiplayer choice, I still have reservations of that game. So I'm being a little cautious with Wildlands, but I think it will be a very good game next year.
I'm definitely enjoying. Oh, sorry.
And it's Ghost Recon. I love that game since I was a child.
Yes, I'm definitely enjoying the open world first person shooter like way we're going, because I definitely enjoy the open world games. So FPS is a genre that I quite enjoy. So I think it's kind of cool to see that those two kind of mixing stuff. So that seems like it should be a lot of fun. That's probably why I like Destiny so much, because I mean, along with the pseudo RPG elements and the online aspect of it, the open worldness of it, where I can explore a bit, seems like a lot of fun. So, so the other two games I had on my list that I would mention is Injustice 2. That looks amazing. I can't wait for that. And I know Freakshow's looking forward to it. I almost expected you to pick it. So, and then beyond that, Halo Wars 2 is coming out. I think it's coming out in like March of next year, so it's going to be here soon. And I like the first Halo Wars. I think you guys liked it too. I don't remember, but
I enjoyed it.
I can enjoy real-time. I like real-time strategy games, so I think that'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, it's pretty cool.
It was cool getting to build up a Scarab in the multiplayer.
Yeah, I really love doing that.
3-4 of those roaming the battlefield.
For sure. All right, so let's get to the final category here. We got a couple minutes left. Game of the year. And if we're doing this the order we've been doing it, Grunt, what is your game of the year?
Same as my RPG game of the year, Skyrim 5. Skyrim Special Edition. It's Skyrim so far 5. Skyrim 5, yes. 5. I mean, that's what I get for looking at my list and trying to find Skyrim on there. So, hush, Freakshow. It's the game I've gotten the most enjoyment out of this year. And I haven't even finished it. I look at my friends list of people that are playing the game, and they're level like 25 or higher, and I'm still only level 12. So I'm wondering if I'm doing something wrong there, or maybe I'm just a little too concerned about exploring.
Nah, that's the beauty of the open world RPG. You can never do it wrong.
Exactly, you can do whatever you want. Can't play Minecraft wrong. Same idea.
Yeah, unless you put the disc in upside down. That's doing it wrong.
Yeah, okay. There are some exceptions.
Joke's on you with the digital edition. Copy.
Well, don't flip your Xbox upside down.
Don't
flip my Xbox upside down? Got it.
The fan on the top doesn't need to breathe or anything. All right.
So, Skyrim, the special edition, is my game of the year.
Nice. Good. I think that's a good choice. Freakshow, game of the year. What do you got?
Watch Dogs 2.
Watch Dogs 2. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that. I didn't see it nominated for too much, but okay.
I loved the first one, and the second one was everything I loved about the first one, only better, and all the shitty stuff about the first one was gone. So I loved it.
Hey, that's a good reason to pick a game of the year right there, I'd say.
Plus, man, they got a guy in an emoji mask who has his own robot. Like, there's nothing not to like about it.
I don't really see how you compete with a guy in an emoji mask with his own robot. So
yeah, dude, you can't. You just can't.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like it's a pretty interesting game. I know the first one was somewhat of a, I don't want to say letdown, but a lot of people were kind of upset with it. So okay, well, cool. My game of the year was hard as hell to pick. It started with Doom, and then moved on to a couple other random ones where I was just like, can I pick this? Can I pick that? And ended with my choice of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Because they changed so much to the game and made it so much better. And not in the sense that the games were bad, but they took out your traditional gym leaders to add more to the story of facing a gym leader, because the gym leaders were normally withdrawn from the game. You play, you get kind of like a general idea of what's going on, and then you just fight a gym leader randomly. And they've added these trials in where you have to like compete with the gym leader and show that you can do certain things and fight certain Pokemon. And they've also added Alolan forms, which are a unique take on the pre-existing Pokemon from like Gen 1. They've added all kinds of stuff. They got rid of HMs. One of the things I never liked about Pokemon games were HMs, where you had to use cut and surf and all that. They got rid of it. And it's got such an interesting story, honestly. The Team Rocket equivalent in the game are these, like, gangster talking thugs, and they're hilarious. And it's just, it's amazing. And I'm in love. I'm not really, but it's great.
I can't wait to see the speedrun routes of that game.
Right, that'll be really interesting.
You know, I love speedrunning Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait.
Speedrunning is quite entertaining, I will say that much. But anyways, those are our picks for Game of the Year. Do you agree with them, guys? Do you disagree? I would love to hear your guys' picks for Game of the Year. You know, your multiplayer, FPS, RPG, all of those. Oh, excuse me. All right, so beyond that, I think we're done here, unless you guys got anything else to add. Any more honorable mentions to throw in before we wrap it up?
It was hard enough picking the games I actually picked.
Yeah, man, honorable mention, Pokemon Go across the board.
All right, well, we're done.
I did forget about that one.
Just kick him from the chat, like, ugh.
Done deal.
Jeez. All right. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to continue the conversation, head to Twitter. I am at FranticJ3. The guy in the middle with the glasses and the carnival is at Freakshow. What is it? 187. 187.
187.
Yeah, Freakshow 187. And then on the right is Onyx Spartan or Grunt, but it's really at Onyx Spartan, ONYX Spartan, all one word. And then at Frantic_Talks is the mothership where you can talk to us through a less personal means, I guess.
Not me.
Well, not you, but I mean, we can tag you. It's easy. It's Twitter. And then head over to...
I don't know how to tag people.
head over to Facebook.com.
You run up to and touch them with your hand.
Yeah, it's not too hard.
Yeah.
It seems simple. Well, head over to Facebook.com. Facebook.com/Frantic Talks, all one word. And you can see us post all our podcasts, different videos we upload on Sunday, all the other fun stuff. Oops, excuse me, I'm like about to cough. And then you can head to twitch.tv/Frantic Talks, all one word. I didn't mention this in the beginning because I forgot to. Every Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, we do this podcast, and you can join us in chatting in the chat room, checking out all the stuff we have on screen. And if you miss it, you can listen to us on iTunes, or you can head to youtube.com, search up Frantic Talks, find the channel, and you'll see all our podcasts since the 10th episode, since that's when we started this video, and you can watch all of them in a crazy long 40 or 30-hour binge watch. Good luck with that. You can also, I mean,
challenge?
If you really want to, it's like a day plus of time.
Well, yeah, I mean, 30 hours is greater than 24 hours, which would make it more than a day.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Welcome.
And then beyond that, you can head to FranticTalks.com to check out all our podcasts. You can find all the information I just said on the Frantic Talks website. And you can also head to magic.frantictalks.com to learn more about Magic the Gathering and our unique takes on the lovely, lovely card game that it is. And I think that about covers it. It's addictive as hell, trust me. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, happy birthday to our special guest, Freakshow. Thanks for joining us, Freakshow.
Yeah, thanks for having me here, guys.
No problem. Hopefully it happens soon in the future again. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this, and I think that about does it. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
All right.
I don't have anything.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Well, I'm Frantic.
I'm Grunt.
And I'm Freakshow.
There you go. And we'll see you guys next time.